Welcome to Mini Fights. I'm your host Brian, and today I am playing Andy in a 17 threat game of deadly meteors and alien ship crashes. Andy has priority, and he's going to start it off with Iron Man. He's going to fly over the Dodge Viper and fly up on top of the size 4 dump truck. And then he is going to attempt to find the Kree core in the alien ship wreckage. Does not find it. Back to me. My Red Skull advances. And advances again. He is going to attempt to arm the bomb. There are gamma bombs and wreckage on each of those 3 points across. So both halves of the mission use the same points on the map. I roll the 2 hits required, and I do capture it. And back to Andy. Zemo's going to do a double move and attempt to find the Kree core, which he does not. At this point, he does something quite interesting, actually. He uses advanced R&D to push 1 power from Shuri to Zemo. That allows him to interact with the other objective that's in the same spot, and he's going to use that to attempt to control the bomb. And to control the bomb, you roll dice equal to your energy defense, and you need to roll hits equal to more than the amount of enemies that are within 1. So he rolled 1, which is what he needed. And it's back to me. Okoye is going to double advance to the bomb. And she is going to attempt to control the bomb. So she's going to have to roll 2 hits because Zemo is within 1. She fails, and the bomb stays with Andy. And back to Andy. Danvers flies forward again on top of the tank, which has a nice removable turret, so it's basically a nice flat piece of terrain for us. And she is going to attempt to control the bomb with her 4 energy defense, and she definitely does. Now, one thing we did miss here, he rolled a skull. He should have taken a point of damage. I think we caught it for the rest of the game, but that was the one we missed. Back to me. The true Cabal Zemo sprints forward, nudges himself forward again, takes some cover behind the size 3 Hydra light tank, and is going to try to control the bomb. And nothing doing. And I do remember that the skull does damage, so Zemo takes a point of damage there. The Avengers affiliated Shuri advances forward and unleashes those Panther gauntlets into Zemo. Even with cover and all the various Zemo reroll stuff, he gets hit and gets pushed back. Back to me. Iron Man advances and advances again. You're going to see a lot of this on this type of scenario layout. It's a kind of a sprint to the middle scenario. It's too easy to go down a lot of points if you don't. And he is going to interact with the orange bomb and cannot capture it. Andy's cap advances down the middle of the field towards his nemesis Red Skull. Gets very close and attempts to find the Kree core, which he does not. My Modoc moves forward, sort of angling to be between those 2 objectives the whole game. He is in range 4 of Cap, so he ends up throwing a psionic blast at him. This is a very strong attack against Captain America. A lot of his defenses don't work against it, and I do end up netting out, I believe, 4 damage on Cap here. And this is me checking range for Modoc's throw, which is just a hair short of Cap. My sort of central placement between the 2 objectives actually ended up keeping me out of range of him. Otherwise, I might have been able to finish him off, or at least force Andy to use the Brace for Impact card. But nothing new in there. So that is going to end the round. Andy is going to score 3 for controlling the majority of the bombs, and nobody is holding the Kree core yet. So no points from that at all. So scores 3-0 to Andy going into round 2. I have some deep concerns here that with first activation, he's going to find the Kree core before I do and run away with a high VP victory here. But let's see how that shakes out. So Andy activates his Captain America, and he does not find the Kree core, thankfully. He does, however, interact with the bomb, flip it over to the Avengers side, so now he controls all 3 bombs across the middle. He then throws his shield at Red Skull, which does no damage, but ricochets into MODOK. And nice rolling from MODOK and bad rolling from Cap means no damage to MODOK either. At this point, he just decides to punch a Nazi and shield bashes Red Skull. Red Skull's defense roll is poor, and he burns some Shuri rerolls using upgrades, and that does 4 damage. Additionally, it does a throw, which is going to hurl him into the dump truck and just push him out of range 1 of the objective, which was smart of Andy. And this ends up leaving my Red Skull on 1 HP remaining. Red Skull decides to activate immediately, so he doesn't just randomly drop dead to something else. He Masters of the Cube's MODOK forward, which puts him in range, puts MODOK in range to patch up Red Skull, and MODOK has enough power to heal Red Skull back to full, so he heals him for the full 5 that patch up allows. So I was pretty proud of that little maneuver. Then Red Skull is going to Cosmic Blast Cap, who has 1 stamina remaining. Cap uses his Vibranium Shield, deflects it, and takes no damage. Red Skull's pretty infuriated at this point. He does it again. This is only going to be against his base defense, no power for Vibranium Shield. Unfortunately, it was a 1-to-1 roll, and Cap stays undazed. Avenger's Shuri activates. She's in range of Panther Gauntlets for MODOK and decides to do that. Deals a point of damage to him, and shoves him back to pretty much the starting point before Red Skull had teleported him forward. And then she just ends her activation. The True Baron Zemo charges Danvers into his strike attack. He slashes her for 2 damage and the bleed condition. He then loads up using his Master Swordsman superpower and another strike. But I roll a Fistful of Skulls here, which really limits your ability to do full rerolls. Ultimately, though, I do end up dealing a point of damage because I end up rerolling my 2 still valid dice into a total of 2 hits. So Danvers activates, retaliates on Zemo. After going into binary form, she explodes him with a zillion dice full reroll Energy Blast, which of course splashes him for his last remaining 3 stamina and dazes him. She then attempts to find the Kree Core and does not, and uses her last action to clear bleed. So the Cabal Iron Man says, "Anything you can do, I can do better, Danvers." Repulsor blasts Andy's good guy Zemo. Seems weird. First Repulsor Blast deals 3. Second Repulsor Blast with Friday AI deals 2. Andy's got the power. He decides to Recalibration Matrix and do a big reroll. I have a lot of dice. He has less. And the net result is that I still end up killing Zemo, no problem. But it's not over yet, because there's rubble to search. And there's bombs to defuse. So I defused a bomb, and that is me finding the Kree Core. So absolutely staggeringly good activation out of Iron Man. He's got a Kree Core, he's got a Dazed Zemo, and we have the entire right side of the table pretty much under control now. So things maybe swinging back in my favor a little bit after so far things not going very well. So the real Iron Man activates, Repulsor Blast MODOK, dealing a point of damage. And because of the interaction, the timing on his wilds, he cannot push MODOK. I didn't actually remember if he rolled any, but it didn't matter. At that point, he decides to Friday AI Repulsor Blast my Red Skull, also dealing 1 point of damage due to a kind of a poor attack roll. And he's going to end his activation there. My MODOK floats forward to the center point. Makes Cap bow to the will of MODOK, walking him away from the point and outside of bodyguard range of Iron Man. And then he Psionic Blasts Iron Man. Iron Man uses a Shuri upgrade roll, and I am unfortunately just too low on power to overcome the defense roll he made, and I end up dealing 0 damage, which means I have no power on me to attempt to disarm or arm the bomb that's in the center. So who do you call when you're in trouble? Obviously, evil doppelganger Okoye. She double advances to the center, rolls her 3 dice, needs to hit 2 hits. I finally hit one of these coin flips. So I needed the 2 hits because Iron Man was contesting. Good guy Iron Man was contesting, but we got it. Those last 2 activations in a row are going to end the round. I score all 5 available VPs to Andy's 0, and we're going into round 3. I'm definitely feeling a little bit better about this game. Felt like the first and second round didn't really go my way, but we're clawing our way back into it now, boys. Round 3 kicks off with Fuzzy Bunny Zemo, Master Swordsman striking the Cabal Iron Man on the right side point. He's going to deal 3 damage with the first swing, but critically only 1 damage with the second swing, thanks to the Invincible Iron Man rule reducing each of those by 1 damage. So Iron Man is left on 1 HP and bleed. Zemo then attempts to flip the bomb, which Andy doesn't roll the right number of dice for, but he fixes it here by rolling a 3rd one. Does not capture the bomb, also ends up taking a point of damage. Back to me, I'm going to activate MODOK, not Iron Man, and advance to within 2 of the Cabal Iron Man. If you're wondering why I did that, check my remaining tactics cards for a clue. I then Psionic Blast Cap, who has 1 HP left before he's dazed, roll about 1 billion hits, and daze him. I use All the World as a weapon to MODOK to throw the size 3 Hydra Light Tank, ironically enough, at good guy Zemo. Andy immediately burns the Brace for Impact card rather than having to roll against a 4 damage throw, and Zemo ends up taking no damage. And that ends MODOK's activation. Avengers Shuri Panther Gauntlets MODOK, but Okoye steps in front and bodyguards. She ends up taking no damage. Shuri powers up her usual amount of power. I think she rolled a skull, so she got 2, and Okoye gets shoved back. She then targets MODOK again. Okoye does not have enough power to bodyguard it. MODOK takes a point of damage and gets pushed. And you can see how precisely Andy's measuring this, and specifically to make sure that he breaks the range 2 to the Cabal Iron Man, who has the Kree Core. Back to my Cabal. Red Skull is going to advance to the right side there. Cosmic Blast Zemo. This is the lesser of his attacks, but it's still a 5-die energy attack. Does a couple points of damage to Zemo. I believe 1 point of damage to Zemo, excuse me. And then with his remaining power, uses his Mastery of the Cube to teleport the Cabal Iron Man back towards my lines, critically putting him back within range 2 of MODOK. Tony Stark disables the middle bomb. Goes to maximum thrust, flies over to the right side bomb. And he disables that one as well. This is the kind of swing that Andy needs to keep him in this game. The true Baron Zemo decides to try to pull the momentum back into my favor. And even though Danvers is glowing like the sun with the power of binary form, he knows how to sword real good. Master Swordsman strikes her, takes her out. Even with Shuri upgrade rerolls and all the other business. That's that. He then flips the bomb to the Cabal side, because why not? And he's got so much power on him, he does a Master Swordsman Steel Rush charge into Shuri, which promptly deals 5 damage to her and dazes her. And add a little insult to injury, he just maneuvers his way back to the point with the free move generated by Steel Rush. Due to my pretty massive attritional advantage now in this turn, and he's out of activation, so I just get to activate out all my models. Okoye advances up to the middle bomb. I go to pull a power offer to flip it, and I realize I don't have any. So in a panic, I'm trying to figure out how to fix this. Well, I've got advanced R&D. So Modoc ends up advanced R&Ding a power onto Okoye, a power onto Red Skull, and a power onto Zemo. She then immediately spends that power to flip the bomb. So thankfully I had that card in my back pocket. Checks her range to a whole bunch of people, got nothing in range, advances over here, and gets herself within bodyguard range and mission objective range of both Iron Man and Modoc. The Imposter in the Iron Man suit on the Cabal side does a Friday AI repulsor blast into Zemo, dealing a couple points of damage to him, but not quite dazing him. He then uses his second action to remove the bleed condition, keeping him alive, and that ends the round. So the scoring for that round puts me at 10 to Andy's 3, and we are going into round 4. At this point, Andy kind of just feels like it's not really worth fighting it out, and I don't necessarily disagree. He would have 3 rounds left to attempt to catch up to me and score, which I guess is feasible. He could score 5-5-5 the next 3 and end up winning that way, or like 5-5-3, something like that. The issue being is that his other win condition is tabling me. Both of those he didn't feel like were really feasible with the attritional advantage I had. I think that's ultimately why I enjoy playing Cabal so much, is that they sometimes win like this, where you just kill enough models that your opponent can't score and you can. And you get a VP advantage and an attritional advantage that you can ride to victory. You can win a lot of games of Crisis Protocol by getting early kills and removing your opponent's ability to contest and score towards the end of games. And real quick before we wrap this up, I'd like to mention a few kind of friends of the show. You can see them down in the description below, but there's a couple awesome blogs, Xavier Protocols and Inspiring Monologue, that you should definitely check out. Gamers Guild, which is our buddy Nate, he does his own MCP channel, and he does a lot of like model reviews, battle reports, tactical talks, including one that I was on recently. Very cool channel. And last but not least, my buddy Ted, who runs the Etsy Printed Planets, and he makes those cool 3D printed boards that you can put your cards in and they kind of organize your tokens. And that's going to wrap up this video. Thank you so much for watching Mini Fights. We've been growing in a really nice fashion. You guys have been liking and subscribing and sharing our videos, and just continue to do that. We really appreciate it. We love bringing you content every week. And on that note, we will see you next week with another video. Thank you.